Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about how Netskope's SSE platform can help break the Cyberkill chain using advanced threat protection. But before we jump into it, let's have a quick look at how the network traffic has evolved over the years. Nowadays we have a distributed workforce where people are working from anywhere and organizations have gone through digital transformation. Employees have started using more and more cloud applications from Office 365 to Google Workspace, Teams or Slack, or in some cases both for collaboration. The impact of digital transformation and the shift to remote workers has resulted in a network inversion where more data is destined outside the data centers than inside. This creates new challenges for the security teams to control the flow of data and making sure they secure the users at the same time. Now, you may already be familiar with the 7 phases of Cyberkill Chain, but over the years with cloud adoption across the globe, not only the businesses have shifted their workload to the cloud, but the entire Cyberkill chain is now cloud enabled. It starts off with the reconnaissance phase, where the attackers gather information about their victims. They might find things like publicly accessible S3 buckets, to secret keys stored in a GitHub repository that shouldn't be public, or a misconfigured Office 365 tenant. Now, according to the Cloud Security Alliance, the two main reasons for cloud misconfigurations are due to the lack of knowledge and expertise in applying best practices, and also due to the lack of security visibility and monitoring into the cloud environments. This is why 1 in 6 companies experience a misconfiguration-related security breach or an incident. Moving on to the next phase, which is weaponization. Once the attacker finds out which cloud applications an organization is using, they can create fake login pages hosted on cloud services mimicking the actual login page for a company, or host malware on the whitelisted SaaS applications, which can allow them to easily bypass legacy security controls which only look at URL filtering or web categorization. Because most of these SaaS apps are considered good, there is an implicit trust which can then be exploited to deliver malware. As an example, you may receive a ServerMonkey link via Slack message or email which points to OneDrive from where the malware will be downloaded onto your machine. As mentioned earlier, basic URL filtering and web categorization fails to pick up on malicious content on sanctioned application. Hence, it becomes easier for threat actors to leverage well-known SaaS apps like Google Docs or Microsoft Forms for phishing attacks and to distribute malicious content. Once the malware is installed, the cloud service can then be used to encrypt the files, exfiltrate the data, or distribute malware to create a larger botnet network. This leads into the callback phase, in which malware connects back into the command and control service using yet again well-known SaaS applications like GitHub, Slack, Facebook. As an example, we have seen in the past it's called SLUB, which is a combination of Slack and GitHub. In this attack, the attackers exploited multiple vulnerabilities to install a backdoor on a victim's machine, after which they used GitHub to host the commands, post the output to a Slack channel, and then stealing the data by uploading the files to a cloud storage service called file.io. Once the attacker accesses the cloud service directly or via compromised endpoint, they can steal data, encrypt it for ransom, or infect multiple endpoints to create a larger botnet network. There are a couple of examples we have seen in the past where Microsoft OneDrive was used for a major command and control type of attack campaign. IoT devices are being compromised every other day to create botnet networks, and even healthcare IoT devices are being attacked. Now that we have an understanding of the cloud-enabled Cyberkill chain, let's see how Netskope's SSE platform can help you break it, reduce the attack surface, and secure your users and the cloud-hosted environment. Consider an organization which is using AWS, GitHub, Office 365, and a couple of other SaaS applications for their business. They are also collaborating with third parties via SharePoint. Now, if we recall, in the reconnaissance phase, attackers try to gather information about a target and can potentially find misconfigured cloud environments. Netskope's Security Posture Management provides visibility into your SaaS applications and infrastructure as a service platforms. Here we have an AWS instance being assessed against the CSA benchmark to find out if it's properly configured. We can quickly drill down to specifics like cloud storage, category, and then looking at a critical severity to find out if an S3 bucket has been properly configured. If we find an issue, we have the option to manually remediate by following the instructions or use AWS Lambda functions for auto remediation. Now, as we understand, modern threats require a multi-layered security approach to defend against known and unknown threats, which we often refer to as zero-day. Netskope provides a comprehensive threat protection framework, starting from your URL filtering into web categorization to actually identifying the contents of a website, whether it be a well-known good website like Dropbox hosting an Excel file, but actually it is malicious. Now, in the backend, what's happening is AV scanning, file hash lookup, heuristic analysis is taking place to detect and protect the end user from any kind of malicious payload. Now, taking it one step further, Netskope also has the capability to block and hold the file if it's something new like a 0-day, and what we can do is provide the end user with a notification to say that it is being analyzed for further analysis, and I'll give you the verdict in a couple of minutes. While the Netskope's Next-Gen SWG allows access to safe websites and block well-known bad websites, our remote browser isolation tool is used to safely browse to risky websites, newly registered domains, which usually come under uncategorized domains. Now, getting back into our scenario where a third party is given access to a SharePoint site for collaboration, this could potentially become another threat vector where the third party can upload any kind of files because they may or may not have any kind of security controls, and they can potentially upload malicious files to further compromise your environment from the outside. This is where Netskope's CASB API for data and threat protection comes into play, and you can protect and replace those files for the end user. So if I was to download this file, this will actually download, but it's actually a tombstone file replacing the malware file to notify the end user that we found a potentially malicious file and it has been replaced and quarantined. Back in the Netskope tenant, we can see all the different websites that we visited that were coming under as malicious, whether it be a malicious site, a malware distribution point, or something that got generated through a domain generation algorithm. It shows us each and everything around the number of users that tried to go to that website or the specific URL that we tried to browse. Similarly, we can look into the malware that got detected while we were trying to download different files from the internet. Now we can drill down to specifics like picking up on the detection engine to see if cloud sandboxing actually came into play to detect any file. In this case, someone tried to download a file through S3 bucket and it got picked up and detected through our advanced heuristic analysis to give us indicators of compromise. It contains potentially obfuscated data or code. It tried to execute some DLL through our API, and then detonating that into a cloud sandbox environment. We can see different screenshots of it to figure out if it actually, what kind of chain of events actually happened once we enabled the macro. In addition to all this, we've got part of the advanced threat protection platform. We have behavioral analytics built into it to give us more insights from the inside threat perspective to see if someone got compromised, if someone had a compromised device, or just being malicious on their own. This way we can pick up on things like a malicious user and then track their activities if they are uploading data to personal instances, if they're uploading ransomware files or encrypted files, or trying to exfiltrate the data from the organization. Netskope also works with third-party vendors from a cloud exchange perspective. Like, this is the cloud exchange platform in which we've got 4 main modules. Threat detection, from a threat detection perspective, we've got this cloud threat exchange platform, which we can leverage to not only import IOCs, but also share intel with the likes of Carbon Black, CrowdStrike, and others. What I'm doing right now is using GitHub as my third-party source to import IOCs like MD5 or SHA-256 hashes as part of my malware scanning strategy, for example, and the way it gets pulled in is pretty much under my profiles. If I look at the file profile, I've got IOCs from GitHub in which I am automatically picking up all my different file hashes through API integration into GitHub. Secondly, what we can do is looking into the cloud ticket orchestration module. I can automatically generate tickets based on the severity of an alert. For example, we can create Jira tickets, ServiceNow, or even create notification through our notifier app to push that notification out to email, join Mailgun, or even do a Slack through webhooks. This is what I have done, and you can quickly see different malware notifications popping up into my security research channel. For example, I can see the file that was downloaded, the malware detection engine that picked up the file, the source of the malware, in this case is a Dropbox file, and the user that actually tried to download that file. Hope this was informative for you, and thank you for watching.